Hello everybody and welcome to Brisbane in amazing Australia, and tonight we are going to be leaving the country of Australia and we are going to be heading to Singapore. We are flying Singapore Airlines business class, which is the product that I'm really excited to try out. It's really my first time that I'm going to be on one of these super premium, super luxurious airlines, and I'm really excited to be able to try this out. The flight's at 11 o'clock, so I'm going to be heading to the airport pretty soon, get my bags checked and get all ready to go to Singapore. So this was my first time ever driving on the left side of the road, and honestly it was not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. The hard part, in my opinion, is actually sitting on the right side of the car instead of the left side of the car, because you pretty much have to retrain yourself on where to sit in relation to the lines of the lanes. Checking in and checking my bags was very smooth and very well organized. The on-ground experience here in Brisbane was great. Cool, so I'm all through the procedures here at Brisbane Airport, and overall things were pretty quick and efficient. I don't think I've ever seen so many bags be selected for secondary screening in my life, but even then it only took maybe 5 minutes to get through the security line here. Immigration was a breeze, bag check was a breeze. Yeah, really nice and easy, and now I have a few hours to hang out before my flight. I am going to take some time probably to walk around the terminal and check it out a little bit. But I do have a lounge access, obviously, with the Singapore business class. I have access to a Singapore Airlines lounge that's here. I don't know if Star Alliance does the same thing oneworld does, where if you fly with one of their partner airlines, you can go into a lounge of another partner airline. Like I one time flew American Airlines first class from LAX to Sydney, and I was able to access the Qantas first class lounge in LAX because of that ticket. I don't know if there's anything like that, because if so, I think there's like an Air New Zealand lounge that I could probably check out. But either way, I'm glad to have lounge access and be able to relax a little bit before the long flight I have ahead of me. So I am currently hanging out at the Silver Chris Lounge, operated by Singapore Airlines here in Brisbane. And overall, I'm pretty impressed by this lounge. It's pretty small, but that makes sense because Singapore Airlines only operates a few flights here a day. But the food is pretty good, at least from what I've had. And the seats are pretty comfortable. I'm in this little kind of pod seating thing right now, and I'm a fan of it. It has good privacy to be able to read, get some work done, do whatever it is that you want to do. So overall, pretty happy with this lounge. At this point in my trip, we were getting quite close to Thanksgiving, and in countries outside of the US that don't celebrate Thanksgiving, Christmas decorations were in full spirit, which was honestly really cool to see in different parts of the world, including here in Brisbane. This airport is very quiet. I don't think I've seen an airport so quiet since Guam. Now Guam was a lot quieter than this is, and this is also a particularly late flight at a time where there's not many flights taking off compared to earlier in the day. But it makes for some very relaxing walking, getting some steps in before sitting down for such a long time. So it's kind of one of my tips when it comes to traveling, is to make sure that you walk around as much as you can before the flight, because it's going to be really hard to once you get on the flight, especially if it's a longer one. Something I always try to do when I can, and I feel like it always helps my legs kind of handle the flight a little bit better than they would otherwise. Before long, it was time to board, and let me tell you, I was so excited to fly on Singapore Airlines. I had heard and watched so much about it, and I was really just excited to experience it for myself. So now, taking a look at the seat, there was a pretty big in-flight entertainment screen that we'll look at a little bit more later on. We had a footwell with some space for shoes underneath. We had a magazine compartment, which I was really glad to see that Singapore Airlines still has magazines, a blanket, and a pillow that were both pretty soft and comfortable, always good to have on a flight. Up at the top of the seat, we had an eye mask and some slippers, and that was also pretty good to have, although I really don't think I used any of it. And then, of course, we had power with USB-C, as well as a regular power outlet, as well as headphones. nitpick that I have is that this seatbelt going across my shoulder like a car seatbelt is not really that comfortable at all. I don't think it'll cause any problems once I'm laying down, but for now it's kind of So now that we are airborne from Brisbane, it's time to take a look at the in-flight entertainment screen. I'm not going to be really using it at all on this flight since it's such a late flight, but let's take a look regardless. First impressions are that this screen is very big, it's bright, it looks very clear, so yeah, let's take a look. It looks like they have a lot of new releases. Yeah, I mean, brand new movies that just came out: Despicable Me 4, Deadpool and Wolverine, Going to the Purple Crayon. It's a good start when you have so many brand new movies. One thing I did notice earlier was that the amenity kit, there's not one at my seat, but you can order it from this amenities tab, as well as the dental kit, things like that. I'm not sure how I feel about this. It's definitely better for waste because there's a lot of times that people get amenity kits and then don't use them. But it's also nice to have with you, and the bags that you get in amenity kits are oftentimes really nice bags. I'm probably not going to order one because I'm not going to be using lip balm, facial mist, or hand lotion on this flight. But socks and slippers and some of these other tools are at my seat for me to use. Overall, my first impressions are that this seat is comfortable, but not as comfortable as I would have thought. The seatbelt really does put a damper on it. Now, as far as the service to be expected on this flight, before takeoff there was a pre-departure beverage and a hot towel that came around, and the hot towel stayed hot for quite a while, which is pretty awesome. The food service we could have at any time we want. We could have it after takeoff, before landing, or both. I chose to have mine right after takeoff. Just because I thought that would be the easiest way to get as much sleep as possible on this flight. We're due to land in Singapore at around 5 in the morning, and I want to get all the sleep that I can before then. The service does seem kind of abridged a little bit on this flight though. Like there's no typical appetizer that I saw on the menu, no desserts or anything like that. It looks like it's just the meals. I did ask for a breakfast pastry to come with my dinner, just so at least I could get something sweet on the plate, reminiscent of a dessert, but it is what it is. I do think that's quite disappointing though, if I'm being honest, from Singapore business class. So here is my dinner, and honestly it was pretty good, though not really what I was looking for. I was expecting a more traditional dinner service like I was saying earlier, and this really didn't fit the bill. So while it was good, it wasn't nearly enough food, and it kind of left me hungry. So it is time to go to bed now. I'm actually a little bit more negative on this flight than I thought I was going to be. From the time that we took off to the time that dinner service was finished, it was about an hour and 40 minutes, which is quite long when it's not even a full service. No appetizer, no dessert, nothing like that. And it's a fairly short red-eye flight. In addition, this seat actually isn't that comfortable laying down. The part of the seatbelt that is like a car seatbelt and goes diagonally across your body is just a killer. It's really uncomfortable. But I'll be able to sleep. It's just really tight. It's like excessively tight, and I don't know why. With all that being said, good night, and I will see you in the morning. And good morning from somewhere near Singapore. I got about 4.5 hours of sleep, which was not as much as I was hoping for. The seatbelt is just so uncomfortable. It's just actually brutal. But it's all good. I definitely slept more than I would if I was in the back of the plane, so got that going for me at least. For the pricing for this flight, I paid 45,000 Air Canada points that I transferred over from Chase, plus about $100 US. I think that this is fair value, but honestly, not great. I think I would rather take this during the day, and during the day, I think I'd be fine being in economy. Welcome to Singapore. Immigration was a super easy process here. You just had to get fingerprinted and go through the e-gate, and that was all there was to it. It was really easy.
Overall, I can't help but be disappointed with my experience with Singapore Airlines. I was expecting a 5-star experience. It's what I've heard so many people say Singapore is, and I just can't say that that is what I had. There were a lot of things that felt lacking from the seat, which was kind of not that comfortable. That seatbelt really, really was awful. To the fact that there was no meal service or no full meal service, no appetizer, no dessert, nothing like that. And the flight attendants were friendly, but everything felt forced and kind of uncomfortable on the flight. And I didn't really like that very much. I honestly did not think I'd be saying this at all, but I actually think that Vietnam Airlines might have been a better experience than Singapore Airlines. And the flight durations for some of those flights were pretty similar to the 8 hours that I had today on Singapore Airlines. So I don't really know what the takeaway is from that, other than things can vary, right? And this is like a regionally configured A350. This wasn't like one of the super long haul Singapore Airlines flights. Maybe it's different on those super long haul flights. But at least for now, I will see you guys later on. I have another flight to catch later today. I have to do a self transfer here in Singapore first, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for watching.